I'm warm, so I like to leave the window open.
I'm about to crack
Um,
open the door myself.
you're about to what?
Crack open the door to my trailer.
Oh, are you warm too?
I am. I'm a big guy, so I'm always warm.
I mean, I'm a big guy too.
There's a lot of Sancho to go around, man.
I know your boy Sancho's here. God, what's that?
Are we
Because
gonna start this thing?
uh, start what?
Joe, just do it.
No, what are we starting?
I forget why we're here.
Oh, you know what? We're starting that thing.
Is it that one thing?
Yeah, it's that one thing. Here we go. Welcome to Nerdentials, your weekly dose of the nerdy essentials covering film, TV, video games, comic books. I'm your host, Joe Tweeton. And joining me today,
Third Ferguson. Sorry.
it's my co-op partner for life. I told you that's your label now, man. You just accept it. Okay? And God, I've been drinking a lot of soda. That being said, guys, welcome my partner, the Nick Thomas.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Welcome, sir. Welcome, sir. The shifting of the head will need to be minimized if we want highest quality audio.
Oh, because the sound moves when
Yeah, you can't look up to the stars as you talk. And I don't know how I sounded, but I imagine it cut off way over here. Right? Did my audio cut off?
A little
A
bit.
little bit. Yeah. Your mic's special. I feel like it's newer.
Yeah.
It is.
It's the newer model. Yeah.
Yeah.
But as long as I face this way, you get the smooth sounds of Sancho.
Smooth, sultry sounds.
Yeah.
Sorry if those eyes bothered you. No? All right. Well, guys, welcome to episode. Is this right, sir? 133?
Pretty sure.
All right, guys. Welcome to episode 133. It's just me for now, and it's just Nick for now. And
always.
We have good conversations, and it's going to be this way for who knows how long, but we're trying to find new and old voices to come back and join us. It's fine. It's fine. We always have a good time either way. Right, Nick?
Yeah.
Right. Guys, friends, family, I am really excited this week because me and Nick are going to try our hardest to hit all three categories of our traditional show: movie, TV, and gaming. Nick, should we shoot for it? Should we try?
Yeah. Let's shoot for the moon.
All right, guys. Well, the delay of our first time back was a little delayed on getting it out, but I did post it, friends. I posted it only a few days ago, so hopefully, I can get this one out sometime this week, and it'll almost be like we're doing weekly episodes once again.
Just weekly.
We're trying, Nick. We want to try, okay? But that being said, guys, we have enjoyable amount of things to talk about. Guys, we're going to talk about things in movies, recent things on Netflix, some interesting things there. We will hopefully shift then to TV. We may cross our T's and dot our I's about Halo and how that's been going. And we're definitely going to dip down into gaming bits for just a little reminiscing. Hopefully give you guys some hot takes on some recent things we've been watching. Oh, you know what I forgot? It's been a minute since I've been doing this, as far as like the introduction, but I also kind of forgot I need to do just a tiny, tiny bit of housekeeping. Guys, if you like the content here and you're watching us visually on YouTube, hit subscribe. To keep up with all our podcasts. And also, maybe you'll find walkthroughs, playthroughs, and first looks with our gaming content because that's also on the books regarding our channel. This channel primarily is about podcasting and pop culture stuff. And if you want to keep up with us on social media, we are on X, aka what used to be Twitter. We're on Instagram and Facebook, all under the title Nerdentials. And if you want to see all the things in all the places and the wide variety of stuff, including reviews, written or otherwise, I would direct all of you to the best place, the only place you should spend your time. Nerdentials.com.
.com.
That's right, friends. Nerdentials.com. The one place where all this nerdy bullshit ends, or rather starts. It depends on you. Guys, go to that place.
The address at the bottom corner isn't correct anymore. We actually got our domain back, so it's not nerdentialsmedia.com, it's nerdentials.com.
Yes, and somewhere in this edit, I will show that, and you'll see it just right. It'll be fine. Thank you, Sir Nicholas, as to be pointing all our viewers in the right place. So, friends, social media covered, podcast and website covered. I see no reason not to move forward. And I like the news stinger I used to have, but we're just gonna stick to the main topics, rather the essentials of Nerdentials or topics. Mr. Nicholas, I think it's high time we jump into Movie Matters. Welcome to Movie Matters, my friends, the only place where movies matter. Our time here and the topics we talk about. Guys, we've got a handful of reviews this week that me and Nick are just going to give you spoiler-free hot takes and maybe even give a score. First off this week, I would love to throw over to Nick to get our back on the first film for this week. A title called Roadhouse. Nick, tell us about it.
Yeah, so Roadhouse is a remake of the original done by with Patrick Swayze. But this new one is starred by none other than Jake Gyllenhaal.
Ooh.
And I can tell you right now, when I first saw this, that it was going to be him in it, I was skeptical. Until I actually saw more previews and more screenshots of it, and he fits the part very well. Actually, it was actually rather surprising. So, Roadhouse, released 2024. It is an Amazon Prime original movie. Stars Jake Gyllenhaal and
Nice.
Conor McGregor from UFC.
Okay. Oh, all right.
Yeah, it's got a few other known names like Post Malone and stuff, but yeah, but those are the big names when you think about it. It follows an ex-UFC fighter. His name is Dalton. Takes a job as a bouncer in the Florida Keys at a place called the Roadhouse. It's a popular Roadhouse bar that has been there forever, but they're having a lot of issues there, so she's been looking for a bouncer. Um, you find out that the main character Dalton, has a sordid past, um, but
Yeah.
he kind of plays that whole speak softly but carry a big stick, and stick being his fist and feet.
Yeah.
Um, but no, it's what can I say about this movie? Right now, it's Amazon's most watched original
Oh,
release. Um,
that's pretty exciting.
it was actually fantastically done. It was really kind of cool to see him play the mysterious stranger, the the quiet person you don't want to have to push too far. And you actually saw
Yikes.
some of his psychotic roles come out in it. It was kind of cool. Um,
Oh,
and it was just an adrenaline filled, um, fun, fun movie. I really enjoyed it. Uh, he was actually a believable badass in this, which was hard for me to fathom when I first thought Jake Gyllenhaal, and like, oh great,
he
Brokeback
doesn't
Mountain.
usually. Yeah, he usually. Well, he also doesn't usually play like, yeah, super tough roles.
Yeah, no, but this role may put him into an action limelight where we don't think about. As you saw how ripped he got for this film.
Yeah, dude, he
That guy got
clearly like he got shredded for that, man.
yeah.
Damn.
No, no, he did a really good job, and I hope to see more of stuff like this from him because
Yeah,
he fit the action man very well.
I
Um,
love that. I love that. Oh, and this is on Amazon Prime right now, right?
yes, it is.
What kind of 1 to 10 score would you give this, man?
Solid 9.
Damn.
Yeah. No, I
That
love the original. Nothing will ever beat the original, but the way they approach this respected the original while making it its own thing, and I really enjoyed that they went that route. Um,
I
the
love that,
story
man.
development, keeping the character a little bit mysterious,
Yeah.
and actually seeing Conor McGregor in his first movie debut and
Oh.
unleashing the beast was kind of cool.
Oh, is he this thick guy that's like
Oh yeah,
tussling with him?
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not super familiar with MMA or wrestling, man. I wish my new friend Zach was on right now because he could talk about this for sure. That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Dude, that seems intense.
No, it was very good. I would actually recommend anybody if you like the original or like a good movie about a nice brawl, knockdown, drag out fights. This is definitely one for it.
Yeah, dude, it looks intense.
And being someone who's practiced martial arts, a lot of the fights were technically great.
Very, very authentic looking.
Yeah, especially having Conor McGregor in there. I was actually
That
reading
helps.
some. I
Yeah.
was reading some things on this, and Jake Gyllenhaal had to keep reminding him, "You need to stop hitting me," because he was like, he
That's
wasn't pulling his
great.
punches.
Right. He wasn't faking it. He was just going into it, man.
Yeah,
I love that, dude. Oh, that's awesome because I have Prime. I'm so sad that I haven't jumped into it yet because I
you should
like a good
definitely look.
action. I love a good action film, so I'll definitely check it out, man.
And hopefully, the next time we talk, you can let me know what you thought.
Absolutely.
But
Um,
solid 9 out of 10. Definitely watch it.
awesome, dude. I love that. Um, I hate to do this to you, man, but I'd like to. I'm gonna throw you over to another one because I saw bits and pieces of it, but my family watched it without me. And it's streamable now.
Oh
I'd love to get your take on the when people heard about it the first time it was announced, everyone was like, "They're remaking it again."
no,
We got Johnny Depp remaking the actual classic
no.
of
This
Charlie and
was
Chocolate Factory, and this is a straight up prequel, like a origin story, and I love that. Nick, I want to toss over to you. Your thoughts on Wonka?
Timothy Chalamet is
Yeah.
having a boom in his career right now, and
Oh, dude.
this movie
Yeah.
made me fall so
Sorry.
much more in love with him.
Sorry. I feel like. Hold on. Just pause for a second. I kind of want to wait for a guest talker to add his 2 cents, and for myself to at least see the sequel to another Chalamet film that's recently come out. Yeah, because he's been everywhere. He's like not Pedro Pascal. Who's the other guy? Oscar Isaacs.
Yeah.
That guy also has had a boom in the last 5 years where he's in everything. Star Wars, Marvel, everything. Timothy Chalamet is absolutely jumping on that wagon, dude. So sorry, didn't mean to pull the oars from you on this boat, but go back and steer us in the right direction, man.
Um, this movie, like you said, isn't a remake.
Yeah.
This is a prequel to the movies we know, where Willy Wonka is just starting to find his feet, starting to get the wonder and the drive to be a chocolatier. You actually
Yeah.
go into a lot more of what his past was and what he actually is. He's not just a everyone thought in there he's just a chocolatier and Willy Wonka. He's an inventor. He's a magician. He wanted to be
Oh
a
wow,
magician
yeah.
in this, and it dives into that. I really hope that they carry this on and actually you get into some of the other stuff that they never actually touched in any of the other movies, like
Hmm.
the Great Glass Elevator. Um,
Oh
quite
yeah.
quite quite literally,
Gene
Wonka
Wilder?
takes Charlie on almost like a Doctor Who style ride. And funny I should bring up
Yeah.
Doctor Who. We'll get
Are
back to that.
you referencing the original Gene Wilder?
I am, but I'm more
That
referencing
was
the books.
Oh, yeah, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But
No,
like,
there's
I mean,
so
they
much more
did
in the books that they never touched.
okay, brief question. How would you compare the glass elevator from the original Gene Wilder film, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory?
I would
Did they get close
I
to that as far as the book goes? I
kind of
don't
sort of,
know.
but you never really got to go farther than that. That was just quite literally where they left it was the first book. They
My
just
mouth's
touched
wide
the
open, dude, because I
glass elevator.
you've clearly invested in the literature outside of the films. So
Yeah.
go on. Sorry. I won't
No, no,
steal
no.
any more.
It's just the old Gene Wilder movies. It ends right at the end of the first book. So the Great Glass Elevator is all about what happens after Charlie does everything there. And but
Oh,
we're getting kind of off topic here. But the Wonka, this is everything before. This is
yeah,
where
yeah.
Wonka meets Willie meets the Oompa Loompa.
Yeah,
Um,
right here in the scene, yeah.
um, he comes back to his hometown where he wants to open up a chocolate factory, and he's quite literally fighting uh, the big the big chocolatiers there,
Oh, yes,
and
yeah.
everything there. This this is this is a musical. It's whimsical. It's fantastically done.
I love
Um,
that.
it had me laughing. It had me crying, and it had me cheering for him every step of the way. Um, they stayed true to the original material, and what they did with this movie was beyond beautiful. If I
Dude,
could give this a score higher than a 10, I would.
sorry, dude.
This is by far one of my
Oh,
favorite movies I've seen in a long time.
what? Dude, that's high praise, man. Yeah, I mean, but you're not always critical, but you've got a keen eye when it comes to like especially nostalgic things that are rooted in a certain canon of fandom. Like Nick, in all our crew, like Matt, Ryan, Paul, Jeff, from all the past hosts on our show, you root a lot of your passion on stuff either you grew up with or historically what you know as what original content was. So it's like even if it wasn't in your childhood, you still are one of the few nerd hosts here that like you invest in new things based almost entirely on, are they respecting the original material? And that's heavily responsible with our comic topics, our cinematic superhero movies to comics. Like that's your specialty in our entire group. And so when I hear you talk about either nostalgia or canon, and right now you were talking about the original books and comparing the book to where this prequel went, I take your words with a heavy heart as far as how you feel about it. And so you're giving this the golden star, the 10 out of 10, the 5 out of 5. Are you serious?
As a heart attack.
Well, don't have one of those, please. But yeah, dude, I love that. I was so intrigued by it. My kids and wife watched it without me, sadly. Just work related reasons. I couldn't be home at the time that they checked it out. I started watching it. I will absolutely go back, hit start from beginning, and I will binge this crap purely based on your recommendation. But also, my wife and kids did enjoy it. Just
And
as a
another,
side note.
yeah. No, I watched it with
Anything
my
else?
wife.
Yeah.
I watched it with my kids. They all enjoyed it. Now I got to go back and show them the old one.
Yeah, dude. Show them the Gene Wilder one because that still holds up over all these years. I freaking love Gene Wilder.
I loved Johnny Depp, but he,
I love Johnny Depp too. No, that one's also a good one.
yeah.
I'm not dismissing that one. All right.
No, but you brought up his other movie he did this year. This
Yeah.
shows so much range
Oh,
from the
okay.
character he is in Dune to the
Oh,
character he is in this.
okay. Okay.
He has an insane amount of range with we saw him in a few like
No.
chick flick type things, and then out of nowhere he goes straight into Dune as Paul
Yeah,
Atreides,
Dune,
and then
Wonka.
now we have him as
What?
Wonka. Yeah, it's
Dude,
and
this kid's blowing up. He's young. He's young in Hollywood and he's
those are
moving.
two very very far sides of a spectrum there.
But he's making moves. Yeah, dude, he's making moves.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I I expect to see a lot out of him in the future.
I'm excited to see what he has to throw our way next. Okay. I'm gonna do some a little bit of magic here, folks, but I'm gonna give a hot take on, I think me and Nick will give a hot take on this next one. Netflix original, starring Millie Bobby Brown. An interesting tale, and I saw your sigh, and I feel like I need to pause.
I keep thinking we're gonna do a Hello Kitty Island adventure. It's
I
been a
have
while. I'm
thought.
sorry.
No, you're fine. Hey, you know what? April 1st passed around, and guess what? I have thoughts about what you just said, and I'm gonna make something happen soon, Nick. I'm not kidding. I'm gonna
You're
make a
welcome.
joke out of it. Yeah, thank you for that.
No, but Damsel, please continue.
All right, guys. A Netflix original film that came out within the last month, starring Millie Bobby Brown. Previously known for the amazing award-winning series on Netflix known as Stranger Things. I'm not going to dive into it. If you guys have never heard of Stranger Things, go to Netflix and find it. No, that's not here. It's neither here nor there. We've done deep dives on this crap. You should know about it. And her amazing Sherlock Holmes-esque connected series Enola.
Yeah, Enola Holmes. She's actually
Enola
Sherlock
Holmes.
Holmes' little sister.
Yeah. Only shame I will bear tonight is that I haven't had the time or chance to check out the series, but I also know that she's done an amazing job on there with, correct me if I'm wrong, Henry Cavill.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, and I actually did
One of
review
my,
on
one
these
of my,
and
sorry, I
and
know Nick's given high praise on both
on both of
seasons.
them. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
fantastic.
And, personal nerdy heartthrob, my wife's aware, Henry Cavill also co-stars alongside her. So it's a shame I haven't seen it, but we're moving on. We're talking about talking about a feature film originated from Netflix that she stars in called Damsel. I'll give you the premise and the layout and my hot take. Guys, this film is about a dutiful damsel agrees to marry a handsome prince, only to find the royal family has recruited her as a sacrifice to repay an ancient debt. Now, if you watch the trailer, you're going to see a lot of wild things happen. Someone who looks like a princess, who thinks she's, meant to marry a certain prince. A ceremony happens, and then if you watch the trailer fully, this is so spoiler warning, but check out the trailer. She succumbs to a crazy ritual that the family she's trying to marry into holds. And next thing you know, she's in a cave struggling for her life. And that's literally the entire breadth concept. It's a princess led to a marriage and now struggling for her life with a dragon that's trying to kill her. And I won't say any more about that. It's not a long movie. It's less than 2 hours. It's worth a watch. It's on Netflix if you have it. It's one of those wonderful times where a movie that's actually good is recommended, and it might be on a service you have. And a lot of people have Netflix. So, guys, I will say this. Millie Bobby Brown, girl's growing up. She's Stranger Things. In Stranger Things, she's freaking in middle school, man, when she starts. This girl is now a full-blown adult actress. And I know there's a season 5 of Stranger Things coming. They're going to de-age her for the purpose, not digitally. I mean, she's going to play younger than she is for the
She's 20
purposes
years old
of.
right now.
That's Nick. Do you understand what I'm trying to say to our
Oh,
audience?
I do.
She's going to play a teenager even though she's in her 20s. And hey, we can't fault her if any of us growing up as millennials or in the 80s or 90s understand about casting. Every Power Ranger we ever loved was already in their 20s. And they were supposed to be high schoolers. So that's what I'm saying. Just trying to protect myself here. The fandom can still exist. Millie Bobby Brown is grown up. She's an adult. Stranger Things, she's gonna be a teenager still, miraculously, because it's Hollywood. But in Damsel, she plays a very harrowing female character who is literally thrown into uh, a family royal agreement type thing. And she thinks it's one of those things like Game of Thrones. It's like, I need to do this for my family. It's not a guy she fell in love with. It's a random prince that she's like, you need to marry him so our two families can get along or benefit from each other. But bottom line, like, done, no more spoilers, no more additional details. Millie Bobby Brown has come into her own as an actress. I look forward to seeing her in other serious roles. I know she's already been doing that as Enola Holmes, also on Netflix. I know she's maturing and she's an amazing actress. Man, that was a slur. She's an amazing actress. Yeah, she's doing great, and I can't wait to see what else she does as she moves forward in Hollywood, honestly. But as far as the movie goes, I will say it wasn't super predictable per se. Um, it had some originality. And as far as the title, I could tell the writer slash director was trying to generate some controversial feelings about calling it Damsel when literally what we see is the exact opposite out of Millie Bobby Brown. She was placed in a role where she's supposed to be a damsel, and that was the furthest thing from what she ended up showing us. And the whole adventure was fun. It did not feel like it was 2 hours. In fact, I think it was barely an hour and a half. Um, Overall, it was a fun ride. And if you already have Netflix, I promise you, it's not a waste of your time. I can't say it was revolutionary film wise, but purely upon entertainment and quality of even her acting alone, I will give this a solid 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10. Please watch it. It's not a waste of your time. That's my 8 out of 10. Nick, I feel like, did you see any of this? And I
I
want to hear your score.
Yeah, I watched the movie too. I really enjoyed it. And it wasn't just Millie Bobby Brown on this. There's a lot of other bigger name actors that you might know, like Ray Winston. He is a British guy that's played in a lot of things. He was Dreykov in Black Widow. He usually
Okay.
plays like the Russian bad guy or the mobster.
Oh,
There's
okay. Yeah.
Angela Bassett.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she's been in
Um,
a lot of things. It wasn't a
we've been
huge role, but
Yeah,
sorry.
and Robin Wright.
Mhm.
Um,
Robin Wright. Yep.
if for those that don't know, it was kind of I laughed as soon as I saw her in this because as as soon as she was saying something, the only thing that came to my mind was "as you wish." For those that don't know, Robin Wright was the original Princess Buttercup from uh, Princess Bride.
Oh, yes. I'm looking at it now. 1987 Princess Bride. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. No,
Man, that was a
uh,
while ago.
yeah, and I thought that's actually one of the reasons why I think they put her in there because it kind of fits that role where she's coming back to her like fantasy roots and stuff. It was kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Let's do
but
that.
no, I would definitely say Millie Bobby Brown is kind of well the best way I could put it. We just gave all this praise for this up and comer Timothy Chalamet. She's
Yeah.
in
Young
that realm where
actors.
she's trying to find new things and spread her wings and do things other than just Stranger Things that everyone knows her for. So you see her spread her wings in Enola Holmes. You see her spread her wings in this. It's good to see her do something other than just play 11. Um,
You know what?
don't get me wrong,
Sorry.
I love her as 11, but
Oh, yeah.
I would give this an 8 too, and I want people to go out and watch this and support her to so we could see her in more things. She's got a lot
Yeah.
more depth than we've actually seen, which is great.
Absolutely, dude. Just briefly, just a tangent off of the cusp here. Timothy Chalamet. I even want to just point out, even though we're not talking about him right now, but Tom Holland, Zendaya, and Millie Bobby Brown. These actors who are in these like who have like come into these triple A titles and series and stuff, and like Zendaya is playing in a really dark, cryptic series called I think it's
Euphoria.
Netflix. Euphoria. What's that on?
I'm pretty sure that's on HBO or Max now.
Okay. Yeah, that's we're not reviewing that right now, but I'm just saying like these young 20 something year olds are like the next generation of what we've spent our childhoods loving in Hollywood. The John Travoltas, the Tom Cruises. God, sorry, I didn't mean to mention you, Cruise. You're never gonna die as long as you do Mission Impossible.
No, but
That is never gonna die. Oops, pardon my
but
language.
you're not wrong.
Hmm.
They're
They're
the
the
up and
next
coming people. Yeah.
generation of the 40 somethings that we love today, that you and me love today in some of the, or not love today, but that we've loved in some of the best classics out there. The Mission Impossibles, the Indiana Jones, that stuff is that these 20 something year olds are becoming that next generation, man.
Yeah.
And right now it's fun to talk about what they're doing right and what they're doing good.
Yeah, and it's not just they're making all these big budget movies and stuff. They're actually acting in them and they're doing good.
No, they're doing serious roles at times, man.
Yeah.
Um,
TV.
That's Nick. This is good. Man, that was a great movie session as far as reviews go. We covered quite a few films. I think because we still got juice in us and we're ready to move on and keep going. We
Juice.
need we we need not do anything else other than jump into TV talk. Guys, welcome to TV Talk, the number one spot where each week, or at least as often as we record, we try to cover the latest in television across as many streaming platforms as is feasible for a middle class American to cover. Shit, I guess we're not going to cover anything, Nick. Just a joke. Whether we share streams, wink, wink, or mix streams or watch things separate, we will do our best to
Don't cross the
cover.
streams.
Yeah, never cross the streams. Not with your Schwartz, not with your Saber, not with your Piss. Please don't cross streams ever. But guys, I am so excited. We haven't talked about TV in a while. It's been a while. We've watched a lot of TV since the while that it's been. Yeah. And Nicholas, I've got a big one I want to hit on, but I'm gonna do like a hot take, fast take. I want to list off 2, 3 or so shows just in quick succession of where I'm at, and then I'm gonna ask you, bro, you gonna jump on or not? Well, and if you agree you've jumped on those, then we'll tell our listeners, all right, we will get back to them and give you deeper discussions on said shows. But I'm going to give a quick hot take on over the last 2 months of our hiatus, things I binged, watched, and caught up on. Just real quick. All right, show number 1. Guys, this stuff is going to primarily hit the nerds out there. It's definitely going to strike a chord with Nick's heart. And if he hasn't jumped on yet, it's definitely going to inspire him to catch up so that we can do some deep dives in the coming year for sure. Guys, series number 1. Paramount Plus is where it can be found. I did a nice full catch-up / binge of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, starring Vincent Mount as the epitome of Captain.
Pike.
You might have Pike, Captain Pike. Guys, it's late in the night, so I promise I will make these quick. I will try to minimize how stupid I sound. Captain Pike, pre-Kirk era. It's a prequel before the original Enterprise took flight on its Kirk-based 5-year mission. I watched all 2 seasons that are currently available. A 3rd season is coming on its way later this year. Super excited to see where it goes. It takes Star Trek from what has been over the last few years of overarching long stories and trying to revitalize the series, and it brings it back to the basics where every single week an episode takes on a different location, different spot. It has a beginning, middle, and end. It's a one and done episode. This series takes classic Star Trek that if any of you are old enough to grow up in the 60s or even the late 80s into the 90s for Next Generation with Captain Picard, they had this ongoing, every once in a while you get a 2-part episode, but for the majority of the seasons, it's a one and done episode. New adventure, circumstance they need to overcome. At the end of the episode, they figure it out. Bam. Hour-long series. The 2 seasons that have encompassed my binge watching have been incredible. I love all the interpretations of the younger versions of these different characters. If anyone's interested, leave a comment down below. We'll do deep dives on any of these series I mentioned. I have so much more to say, but I will just move on and keep moving on. And just the highlight hot take is check it out. It's on Paramount Plus. If you are a Trekkie, new Trekkie, or have always loved Star Trek, this is one. This is one to get into. Star Trek: Strange New Worlds, 2 seasons, third one's coming. It's been amazing so far. Jumping into the next one,
And Anson Mount does a good job as
and
Rick.
oh yeah, Anson Mount, and I could go further on all the different younger versions of characters that have come. Anson Mount, Captain Pike was only in the pilot, and for some people, an unaired pilot in the 1960s of the original Star Trek series before they recast him as William Shatner as Captain Kirk. But there's plenty of lore, plenty of comics, plenty of books that talk about Anson Mount, and I love how well he did as someone who is not Kirk and pre-Kirk. It's so any Trekkies listening to me, y'all know what I mean when I say that, and Nick knows. I'm trying to touch on those quickly, and me and Nick will have deeper discussions later for sure as he wants or as he catches up. Nick, where are you at in this series?
Um, I haven't watched much of it, but I did watch a few of the episodes of the first season.
Okay.
One of the things I could say, which is great about this show, you actually met Anson Mount's Captain Pike, and for that matter, Spock in
In
the other
the movie?
Paramount. No, in the other Paramount
Oh,
TV show
oh,
called
yeah,
Discover.
Discovery. They
This
do
follows their characters
a
afterwards.
crossover. Yeah. Well,
Well, it's not really a crossover. It's where they started from. They brought them
no,
from there and did this as a spinoff.
sorry. Let me rephrase that. I started watching Strange New Worlds, and I got only a few episodes in, and then Nick pointed out because I asked him, I'm like, because I knew there was a crossover because I started watching Discovery as well, and that's a show that started 3 seasons earlier. And in the first season, they do a crossover of characters where they're all connected because they're trying to make a spin-off called Strange New Worlds. Discovery started first, rejuvenating Star Trek. Then Strange New Worlds was a spin-off series that they wanted to do. And Nick told me, well, after this episode, they kind of take off in different directions. I was like, crap. Okay, so I need to catch. I was behind on Discovery, and I will be touching on that in 2 seconds. I was behind on Discovery. I had started Strange New Worlds thinking one and done episodes, no harm. But they do cater to hardcore fans at certain points. References in episodes and a 1 or 2 episode crossover of characters where they end up in different directions, but they make a connection, showing you that they're in the same universe and related. And I was like, snap. Okay, so I watched all of Discovery, all 5 seasons. I binged all 5 seasons over last summer. I just watched episode after episode. I got all caught up. Then I went back and watched Strange New Worlds. I saw the crossover episode where a couple characters like Michael Burnham connected, one of the huge main characters of Star Trek Discovery. And then I watched the rest of Strange New Worlds, loved every single aspect episode of it. I love the actors, love uh everything they're doing as a Trekkie, as a lifelong Star Trek fan. I love what they've done with Strange New Worlds. And as a side review slash connected review of Discovery, I I thought they were talking initially started with the idea of a 5-year mission, because it was supposed to take place before Kirk came into captainhood, into captaining the Enterprise. And I was like, okay, so they limiting themselves to 5 seasons. That'll be interesting. And then Discovery goes in a crazy different direction after season 3. Some crazy time travel stuff, some insane new discoveries. And I love the fact that, spoiler free, I'll put it this way, they find themselves in a future that's far enough removed from any original series that it gave the creators, fans, showrunners that are fans the ability to take the show in different directions that that could completely avoid tying them down to previous history, previous canon, because one of the biggest problems that Star Trek suffered was when season 4 of Enterprise happened, which in itself was its own prequel. And the reason that show got canceled is because viewership was so low, because majority of the fandom of it hated how much they were contradicting plots, how many wrong directions they were taking, because at some point the studio didn't have as many fans of the franchise working on it anymore. It was just people being paid to write a story, and the fans were so sad about where it was going, and there weren't any fans in the studio making it happen. And so that's where Star Trek ended, and this now revival, dude, Jonathan Frakes, who plays William Riker, number one, next to Patrick Stewart in the Next Generation series that happened in the 80s. He is currently writing, producing, and directing a lot of stuff now for all these current Star Trek shows. And this in itself, Nick, could be its own episode. I know you're hearing me. I know you're excited about what I'm saying. I know you want to add and pull from, and I want us to come back and dedicate a conversation between you and me after, like, maybe catch up on some stuff and then come back at me, dude, and talk about the history and where things are going, because Star Trek has been revived, dude. It got revived with Discovery. I don't know if it was revived at season 1, but by season 3, dude, I can see all that passion for everything about Star Trek coming back, and then all these additional series, Lower Decks. Oh my god, dude, I have so much to say about that, but I will try to make it short. Strange New Worlds, spinning off but still staying connected to the universe. Discovery, jumping super far into the future, but still like maintaining the spirit of what made Star Trek so exciting and fun back in the 60s, when space exploration was a wild, strange, and completely new concept for most Americans when Gene Roddenberry himself invented it in the 60s. And so all that to say, Strange New Worlds is doing great. I give the total 2 seasons of it a solid 9 out of 10. I'd give it a 10 out of 10, but I don't think I'm equipped enough to criticize. So I honestly, I don't know, man. Strange New Worlds is a 10 out of 10 for what it is. Discovery. As a Star Trek fan, I grew up with Star Trek my entire life. I'm 39 today, so I wasn't there at the beginning, but I've been there throughout the years. Discovery, as a 5-season collective, I have to give it a 10 out of 10 for where it has ended so far and where the final season's going to go. I can't wait to see where the final season's going. This last season, season 6, they've announced it's the final one for that series. Strange New Worlds, not sure how far that's going to go. Lower Decks, 4 flipping seasons, all animated. When I first checked it out, I thought it was like a Rick and Morty adult-only cartoon, and on many levels it is. But they did a crazy spin-off, not a spin-off, sorry, a crazy crossover episode in season 4. They connected an animated episode with a live action episode of Strange New Worlds with Captain Pike. They did a complete crossover with animated, and they brought in the voice actors, Quaid, and I forget the female actress that are not in front of my screen right now, but the voice actors for the 2 lead characters, the nerdy white dude. God, I'm messing all this up, but the 2 lead characters that are best friends in Lower Decks, they show up in Star Trek Strange New Worlds in front of Captain Pike as real human actors, the same voice actors. Never seen this, at least in Star Trek history, of a cartoon and a live action thing making a crossover other than, Roger Rabbit's. Roger Rabbit in the freaking 80s,
You're
early
talking
90s.
about Jack Quaid as Brad
Yeah.
Baumier
Yep.
and Tawny Newsome as Beckett Mariner.
Yeah. Two of like the leading characters that bring most of the humor to the Lower Deck series did a complete crossover with Strange New Worlds, and it was beautiful, glorious. I laughed, I cried, couldn't believe this was happening.
Well,
and so I gave the last two 10 out of 10s, honestly, and I would give, honestly, I've watched all 4 seasons of Lower Decks. They also do the one and done episodes, but they keep building on relationships with characters, and so it's like if you stick through from the beginning to now, it becomes more and more meaningful as you watch. So even though you could come into any random episode and enjoy it for what it is, because it's a one and done starting point, problem, solve it by the end type storytelling. But if you stick with it, all the characters grow together and you fall in love with everything they're doing. So 4 seasons, Lower Decks for a Star Trek series. Can't believe I'm rating a cartoon animated Star Trek series, but it's a 10 out of 10 for me. I can't give it anything lower. It's amazing. The only show I have not watched, and I know there's 4 series, is Star Trek Prodigy. I know it's geared towards a slightly younger audience. It's all CG. I haven't been able to dive into that yet, but the 2 live shows and the adult animated show where they straight up cuss, Star Trek with cussing and adult humor, all of it's amazing. And Star Trek is going in such an amazing direction as far as television goes, Nick. All 3 series that are on Paramount Plus, minus the 4th one that I haven't had time with, I give all of them a 10 out of 10, and I can't wait to see where they continue going and how they wrap things up with Discovery. If you don't
another
mind,
thing to
I'd
be
like you to
excited
add
about
a.
too, since you're already
Yeah,
doing it.
okay, yeah. Mhm.
Strange New Worlds wasn't going to be the only crossover. I mean, only a
Live
spinoff from
action
Discovery.
spinoff. Yeah.
The other spinoff that they were working on was Section 31.
Mm,
With
I
if
can't
anyone
wait
has
with.
seen Discovery, it was Empress
Oh, yeah.
Georgia. No.
Oh. But
Section
some
31 is the very
elite.
secretive group within the, the Federation that is all about protecting the Prime Directive. They're like the Men in Black of Star Trek.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Um,
and they also kind of have the freedom to also, don't they have the freedom to protect the timeline?
that's their
Yeah.
main thing.
Yeah.
And
Nick, real quick.
but it's not
Go
going to
ahead. Go
be a
ahead.
TV
Sorry.
series.
Oh,
They
are you
already
going to
pulled
do a
it on
full
it. It's going
blown?
to be a full length movie.
Oh. Oh. So yeah, sir, we're gonna have to talk about that and check it out when that happens.
You were saying?
Oh, well, I don't want to misspeak. I'm trying to look it up, but maybe you know or recall when it happened.
Hit me with your best shot.
But
Hit me with your best shot.
Will Wheaton.
Yeah.
He made an appearance in either Star Trek Picard
It was
or
his
Star
appearance
Trek
in Picard.
Discovery.
Picard.
I thought it was in Picard.
Yep.
And because they're the furthest in the timeline as far as canon goes, the farthest out, Picard, where everyone's at canon wise, other than Lower Decks, because Lower Decks I think takes place at the same time or right at the end or after Picard. Honestly, if you
I
start,
think Lower Deck is in Voyager.
it's post. They talk about Voyager fondly, like they're in a museum. I'm not kidding. They are the furthest out of all the series. If you watch season 4, when you
Well, other
like,
than Discovery, which is hundreds.
we're not talking. Just I know. I meant as far as like present time furthest out, like
Yeah, for sure.
2470s, 2480s, 2490s, 25th century. Their Lower Decks is on the cusp of that with season 4 because they reference Voyager like they're in a museum. And he got so excited. What's his name? Quaid, that character got so excited about getting an autograph. Tom Paris was going to visit their ship and he wanted an autograph from him. And they talk about Janeway being an admiral. So it's absolutely like at or post Voyager for Lower Decks. And Picard is also right there at the tail end, post Voyager, right there on the cusp of where everyone's at. Retired Picard, that's where he's at,
For sure.
Um, all that said,
But you were asking about Will Wheaton.
Will Wheaton in Section 31. I feel like I saw an episode somewhere where
Will Wheaton and Section 31 are two different things, but yes.
okay, well, what's his special agenda? Because I feel like he was recruited and it was weird. He made an appearance somewhere and he was recruited for something. What was it? Damn it. I don't remember. Do you remember? We can come back to this. We can cut this out and come back.
Wesley Crusher returned in Picard.
Yeah.
Season
Picard.
2. As I think the group he's part of is called the Travelers.
Okay. Shoot. So is that Picard unique, specific, and not connected to anything else yet? Probably not anything else yet. That I just because there was something very like, oh my gosh, Will Wheaton got himself back into Star Trek, but he was like recruited for something. Dang it.
Yeah, he's a traveler.
Okay.
So the Travelers, you actually saw Travelers in the original Star Trek Next Generation series. They have access to power and they travel throughout the timeline, making sure things are all good and everything.
Okay,
like
so
that.
this is kind of why I was confused with Section 31 a little bit.
Where Section 31 is tasked as a military government that can sometimes be corrupted and all that to actually go do stuff. They're like the secret agents that go in and like straight up kill people that aren't supposed to.
Yeah, there's a level above Starfleet that has them operating, right? Yeah.
But the Travelers, quite literally, all they do is they monitor. They go in and they see. They observe.
Do you remember? I know you looked it up, to verify, but do you remember that scene in Picard?
I do.
Season 3. We'll need to come back to that because I'd like to dig into that a little bit. Sadly, I haven't watched all the behind the scenes Will Wheaton, the after show stuff that they also have on Paramount. I'd love to watch all that.
Quite literally, the Travelers have ascended. They have control over time. They like when you see Wesley Crusher in there, he can actually full on stop time and move through it to different space time.
Yeah, I'm so curious. I'm so curious if they're gonna do anything with that or come back to it at all or mention it again. Super curious,
Yeah.
It was clearly a whoa moment, but it was like a fun spot to put Will Wheaton back in there as an actor and a fan of Star Trek.
Yeah, so
that kid grew up in it,
Yeah. No, you saw him in season 2 trying to
what was he
get
doing
Corey to get he was following Corey and trying to get her to join the Travelers.
Oh man. I know. Yeah. We never. Oh man, we need to circle back. It like the whole series is done sadly, and I know Sir Patrick Stewart is getting up in his years. I'm so sad. I'm glad they didn't try to keep it going past the point where you know what I mean.
Season 3 was written as that crew's final adventure to completely see them off and say, guys, we gave you what you wanted to see. You have closure on all their stories.
We gave you just
got to get to the nostalgia.
I know.
And I'm glad the way they did it. Season 2 to to much my chagrin, was it was a mess.
I know. I recall seeing fans, uh, not being as excited as season one,
And then
and
season three, they
I didn't dislike it. It definitely threw all of us in a different direction that we were kind of maybe confused by or not sure what they were doing with it, and I still loved just watching Patrick Stewart on the screen, and I'm glad, yeah, like you, I'm glad they took season 3 where they did. I'm still there's no you can't stop us from aging, and I get it, at some point you got to stop. You got to stop. You got to pull the plug at some point, and giving us some kind of ending is the best you can do. But just as a lifelong fan of Captain Picard and that whole crew from the Next Generation, I dude, I know I would have been upset if they pushed it longer than it could have been. I love that they gave it a finale, so I can't be mad. I'm sad about the overall fact that it's over. I think every fan is gonna feel a little sad that we're not getting more, but also happy that they gave it a conclusion, that no one hates. I can't speak for everyone, but I don't think anyone hates how it was concluded. I'm glad we got something, right? I'm glad we got a conclusion. Um,
I agree.
it's definitely something I'd like to come back to and talk at it, at further length, the whole 3 seasons, because we haven't ever really, at least on this show, talked at length about it, and it's fine. It's not the right time or place right now for that. But that does basically cover the 4 series that at the time were all congruent on Paramount Plus. We had no 5, sorry, counting Prodigy. We had 5 freaking Star Trek shows running parallel for the last 3 years. It's insane. Um, it's an insane revival that all has amazingly for us fans done well, and means we'll continue seeing more of that in the future. Man, Star Trek, what a fun time for a lot of nerds. We're nerds, guys. Our channel is called Nerdentials. You knew what you were in for. But anyway, we're gonna segue now to one more show for this week. Um, that I feel particularly impassioned to uh, give you guys some encouragement to check out. That's the headline juxtaposition of this whole thing. Guys, I want to talk about Halo, the TV series. Um, this thing, I'll just give you a quick little recap of where we found ourselves barely 5 years ago when we heard. I hear some Halo background barely coming through, Nick.
I'm sorry.
I know you're. Ooh, hey, I gotta highlight Halo 3. Is the TV series getting renewed? You know it is. It did better. Season 1 got renewed. Why the fuck wouldn't they renew season 3? You know what I mean? It's like so many anyway. So many
Well, let's
fans.
hear it.
Yeah, so here's where I'm at, guys. Guys, another Paramount Plus, ironically, moving off of Star Trek. I had to touch on this. Halo. Halo, the TV series based on the award-winning franchise from 2001 to now, with a total of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Roughly, you guys can correct me in the comments, roughly 11 titles of video games released. Majority of them being first-person perspective shooters, FPS shooters. That's where the entire franchise of Halo starts. A couple spin-offs, some RTS top-down strategy games, and dozens of novels written to continue enriching the lore / franchise of this whole thing. Guys, I won't bore you too much, at least on this time around, regarding, the history of it. If anyone's curious, and we might want to do this after Nick gets completely caught up, he has watched some of this with me. I am completely caught up on season 1 and 2 in its entirety. But after this review of the series, we may come back for a lengthier discussion about the entire franchise, both from a gaming perspective and a audio video perspective outside of gaming, TV, potential filming. But what has happened is over the years, film was potentially in the works, and it got delayed, and eventually canceled. And finally, after multiple years of headlines, a TV series was birthed, originally given to the Stars streaming service, and eventually still has people working for Stars producing it, but it did eventually transition to becoming a Paramount Plus original series. For anyone not in the know, since we're not in the gaming section, and if you're purely here for TV talk, the description for the show is as this: with the galaxy on the brink of destruction, Master Chief John 117 leads his team of Spartans against the alien threat known as the Covenant. Since 2001, the game franchise is essentially that. Spartans are these super soldiers with heavy armor, built up by basically a human fleet of starships from Earth to fight against an alien threat known as the Covenant. And the Covenant is a group of aliens, not all one race, tiny guys, mid-sized guys, big guys. It's a roundhouse of about 4 or 5 species who are on this religious conquest to seek out this thing that we eventually find out to be the title Halo. It's about this giant ring world. Without spoiling anything, that's the whole premise. It's a ring world. They think there's a lot of religious connotation behind it. They think pursuing it will lead them to whatever afterlife they believe in. All the while, they're adamant at destroying humans and, basically preventing anyone else from getting to their religious icon known as Halo the Ring. So that's kind of the whole premise. This group of aliens and humans fighting each other. They're pursuing a religious thing. Humans are just trying to figure out, why are these aliens trying to kill us constantly? So that's the premise. Now, game, it's a first-person shooter. It's an interesting translation, bringing an FPS to a series or movie. Doom was one of the saddest attempts at a movie adaptation. It was a fun ride, but it wasn't great.
I loved the first person scene. It was fantastic.
Those were fun. They were fun. They weren't crazy groundbreaking or heavy in storytelling.
Fantastic.
They were fantastic, Nicholas. Yes.
And it had Carl Urban, so I couldn't complain at all. It was an awful movie, but Carl Urban made it worthwhile.
No, just like Judge Dredd, he made it worth that too. Although that was a better movie, Carl Urban does help. Also in Thor Ragnarok, he definitely helps with the shake weighty, less shake, more weight situation. Nerd reference. Come on, guys. Wink, wink. Leave a like or add a comment if you know what I'm referencing. Anyway. Guys, so the series TV show finally came to fruition over 2 years ago, with the lead role assigned to a Pablo Schreiber. You guys might know him best as Pornstache from a wonderful series called Orange is the New Black, where he played a correctional officer in an all-women correctional facility.
Love that
Pornstache. It is a great show. Was a great show. You might also recognize him as the Leprechaun in. I'm not sure where it's streaming right now, but it's from a Neil Gaiman's Gods, American Gods. Did I say that right?
I don't know. Haven't seen it.
God dang it! I gotta correct myself, Nick. I'm looking to you for nerd fact backup sometimes. I'm kidding. I'm messing with you.
Pablo Schreiber. He's a Canadian
American
actor.
Gods. American Gods. He played Mad Sweeney, an Irish or Scottish leprechaun in the Starz original series American Gods. It's very graphic, very sexual, very adult show. Don't recommend it to kids. Loved him in that. He was very different. And then now he's been cast as our favorite mascot of Xbox, the Master Chief, known as John 117. And he's been in other stuff, but I would like to think, other than films, those are his biggest roles. Orange is the New Black, American Gods. He's been in a few other movies, but now he's here.
I didn't know he was Liev Schreiber's brother. Sorry.
Huh. Fun fact. I did not know that either. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes you read actor names and you forget about some of the older actors that have been doing it for a while, and you forget that there's a lot of connection in Hollywood. Anyway,
Sorry, continue.
no, you're fine, dude. Jumping back into it. I'm gonna give you guys a hot take on season 1. And I'm not gonna spoil a lot, purely because one, don't know how many people in our audience here on Nerdentials have checked this out yet, since not all of us have been on top of it this whole time. But I definitely will warn you guys ahead of time. Once Nick catches up and season 3 hits, I think we're definitely, probably, most likely going to cover a lot more of this show. Based on where I'm seeing it going and my hopes of where it's going, I think we're going to want to cover this. This is one of those unique shows where our childhood favorite franchise gets adapted, and the initial takeoff is a less than favorable outcome. Shockingly, like, season 1 was met with insanely mixed reviews, low mixed reviews. Even the people that liked it weren't entirely sure how much they really liked it, and those that didn't like it straight up hated it. Season 1 was very controversial amongst fans of the gaming franchise. So much so that I watched 2 episodes 3 years ago when it first launched, and I completely fell off and didn't give 2 shits about keeping up with it at all. Right in episode 1, as a lifelong 24-year-old fan, I'm not 24, I'm way older, but the franchise is 24 years old. As being a fan of 24 years of Halo and Master Chief, I was very disappointed, very upset, and wasn't excited at all about season 1. Having said that, I needed to give that preface to explain that once I found out a season 2 was happening, despite the low ratings, the low opinions, and the mismatched feelings about the entire season, I couldn't believe after 8 episodes on a Paramount Plus original series that they were doing a season 2 regardless. Netflix doesn't shy away from canceling immediately when stuff doesn't work. But Paramount Plus somehow is like, no, they think there's something here. Let's listen to the fans. Let's make corrections. Let's keep trying. And somehow they were okay with spending enough money to do a season 2. So season 2 starts, and I don't even jump into it when it happens. I was just like, it's crazy. And I kind of just forget about it because there's so much other things going on. I start catching wind. I always listen to Podcast Unlocked, which is IGN's Xbox dedicated podcast that they upload once a week. My favorite host on there, other than Ryan McCaffrey, who I've followed for over 20 years since he was an intern on the official Xbox magazine and now leading for the last literal 15 years on Podcast Unlocked. His co-host, who now has higher duties, Destin Legary. He has his own channel. He's a producer at IGN. He makes a lot of other content. But he has his own channel and his own opinions. I would just give a shout out to him because I truly appreciate his opinions. Go to the Destin channel. It's on YouTube. Destin Legary also used to lead, as a side note, this is how much I care about this dude. For 6 years, he led the IGN Destiny podcast called Fire Team. It was a fire team chat, I think, maybe. I'll leave a link down below. That unfortunately, all my favorite hosts from there have moved on from Destiny. Some of them still go back regularly. I love listening to all of them. Fran Mirabella was a huge host there, and he now joins the DCP, the Destiny Community Podcast, with several other people. They are still active, and I love that. I love all those guys. But Destin Legary has always been a Halo fan, a Destiny fan, a Bungie fan. Bungie was the original creators of Halo. And so I've always taken heart to what Destin Legary says about how he feels about things regarding Halo. He watched the first season, felt the same way as Ryan McCaffrey. All those guys felt the same way, disappointed, miffed, not sure how to feel about it. Wasn't what they were hoping for. Both of them have watched most of season 2, and both of them have a lot of excitement about where the studio is taking season 2. It's amazing the turnover that season 2 has made, because they took all the things that weren't great about season 1 and they've very casually and carefully redirected where certain characters are going. They've brought in more game accurate lore. They've brought the Master Chief closer to what game fans expected out of a mascot, and it's exciting. So my story starts and ends with this year, where I heard that great news about season 2 getting better. And so, you know what? I was like, I'm a purist when it comes to seeing the beginning and end of something and to see how it grows and where it changes. So I have to go back to the beginning. I have to watch season 1. I have to see where it goes, where it failed, and I have to allow myself to experience that so that I can be excited with all the people that started with it at the beginning. I love doing that because it gives you such a greater appreciation for where it ends up. And I am so happy that it ends up in a better spot than where it started. And so for that reason, 8 episodes, I stuck through it. I binged all of season 1. And I found myself not being as upset or dismissive as I was 2 years ago when I tried it out the first time. Because, we all went into that show blind. We're like, we've been in love with Halo for 20 years. They're making a show finally. Can't wait to see it. They disappoint us in the first episode. Master Chief is an elusive, faceless character, and it makes sense in gaming because you play as the Master Chief. So by not showing a face, you get to be in the Master Chief's place. You get to be in his spot. The Mandalorian with Disney Plus, they did such an amazing job of hiring a pretty high caliber, decent actor known as Pedro Pascal. And people thought, oh, there's no way they're not going to show his face. He's a known actor at this point. Why would they keep him mysterious? And guess what? They pulled it off for 90% of the entire season of Mandalorian. They kept Pedro Pascal's face hidden, and it didn't take away from the character emotion or us caring about him. We still cared about him. His voice, the acting came through his voice. That's an amazing example of keeping a character's face hidden, a well-known actor, and that actor showing his prowess and ability in conveying emotion and story. End of story. And I challenge anyone on the internet to argue against that. I know Nick he nods as I'm talking endlessly. He agrees with that statement. So
Loved him.
yeah, you say that again, Nick.
I loved him.
Yeah, dude.
Pedro did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
But
And not seeing his face didn't make it worse. There was nothing wrong with not seeing his face. But so all that to say that the it's been almost 3 years now, guys. So the only spoiler I will give you is the number one mistake I feel that the studio made as a whole in season 1 is that our mystery man, the Master Chief, who's never been shown, no, his face has never been shown. I feel like the studio was too scared to hire a name like Schreiber, and they were too worried about his ability, sadly, too worried about his ability to convey emotion through just his voice, that they revealed the Master Chief's face at the end of episode 1. Literally the episode 1 of the entire series. Now, to bring us to where they're going with it, we still see a ton of his face. We still see the actor go through the ups and downs, and I can't spoil anything right now, Nick, because I need you to get to season 2, and we can definitely have like a deep dive on this series once you get there. But I also don't want to do that to our listeners who are just hearing the hot take.
yeah, no, I plan on watching more of it. I need to get through season 1 and see the story of Master Cheeks.
Yeah. Nicholas, aside from the joke, I also hope that you do that also based on my recommendation that if you want to like further appreciate where they evolved the show, that you got to see where they fucked up first, right? You need to see where the foundation started and then see where it goes. I highly recommend, even if you're a fan of the game, stick through season 1, see where they go. I think if you remove the idea that it's not a perfect one-to-one of the game, that you can appreciate it as a series that's trying to take you somewhere.
Nothing
I
has to
did.
be perfect 1-to-1.
No, nothing. No, yeah, sure. Nothing is. A lot of series and movies get close. This one strays pretty far with season 1. Now, just to conclude, Nick, just to pull you into where I'm at with season 2, I finished the whole season 2. And prior to the last 2 episodes, the excitement level, the interest, the investment is so great, so good where they're taking it. It's still not perfect. They still have characters that sadly don't need to be there for us to truly enjoy the story that they're telling. There's a couple characters that don't need to be there, never needed to be there in season 1, but I can see the studios slowly weeding them out. Weeding them out to a point where it makes sense for where they started. So it's not just a blatant band-aid rip like, wow. So, actor died, so instead they just straight up recast, or it's not that. They kept the character that shouldn't have been in there. They take that character to a place where I can see that character leaving in a meaningful way, and in a way that helps us change our focus and care more about our Master Chief and Cortana and where the rest of that story is going. Um, in conclusion, I give season 1 a solid 5 to 6 out of 10. Even upon a rejuvenated, I'm not upset, I'm just kind of going in blind and see where they go. I still sadly, based on my 20 years of fandom, have to give it a 6 for what they did with it. It's not even that I'm not upset about what they did with the characters. It's just it it just wasn't good storytelling overall. Like it didn't go where it needed to go, even though I might have a 20-year bias of the gaming franchise. I still can't give it more than a 6. But knowing where season 2 shifts, I would still tell everyone out there, even though I gave it a 6, try to get through 8 episodes if you can, or at the very least, watch the season 1 finale to give you an idea of where the season 1 ended to where season 2 takes off. And then from season 2 on, dude, I gotta say, season 1 was a little bit of a slow burn overall. Like, it gets good midway as far as action goes, but dude, season 2, they start with all the explosions, all the action. I was like, oh, they realized season 1 was a bit slow, and they decided, let's not make that mistake again. So season 2 explodes with action, intensity, curiosity, character movement, shifts, changes, so much good stuff. And it gets so insanely intense and well done. Like, dude, they spent money. They spent money on the action, on the effects, on the CG in the last 3 episodes. They put money where their mouth was and fixed it and made it so good. And I cannot, it wasn't like an insane cliffhanger where you're like, oh my God, but it was enough of a, oh my God, are they going there next? It was like, oh my God, please. Oh God, season 3, come now. I need to see where they go. I need to see where they go. So season 2, although I can't give it a 10 out of 10 because they did not completely pull it out of the ass that it was buried in, I will give season 2 a solid 8. Season 2 for me is a high 7, solid. Let's keep it 8. I don't want to mix words. Solid 8 out of 10 for where they took it. So, Paramount Plus. All 16 episodes are available. Highly recommend. If you're a longtime Halo fan, stick through season 1. You'll appreciate the series more as it changes through season 2.
Nice.
And I can't wait to hear your perspective, dude. I feel like you're going to be very, very close on the same page as me after you sit through it based on what I've said and what they did.
Okay.
So,
yeah. So
yeah,
instead of going into any other shows I want to cover, I would like to cover a little bit of TV news.
Oh, hey, that's we don't have a particular order for news and reviews. Usually I want to stick news at the front, but I also don't have a good stinger right now for that. So we can absolutely.
Yeah, it fits
me a
nicely in the
headline,
TV
man.
talk. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we talk about Halo, we talk about Star Trek, we talk about all these things. We have fandoms. Now, the news that we got goes along with another fandom, which is just as adamant and just as ravenous. I myself am an avid Whovian.
Whovian, my friends.
Yes.
Yeah, you heard it. We don't talk about it often, but here it is.
Last time we talked about Doctor Who, I think we were talking about the transfer from Peter Capaldi to Jodie Whittaker. That was a weird transition.
I do think because of canon breakage that's the only reason we mentioned it and talked about it. Yeah. And I think we, unfortunately, in today's day and era, we need to preface that we have no prejudice towards anyone identifying as anything. Also, get over yourself. But and you guys can at me about that. But this one is purely sorry, Nick. If you want me to cut that out, I will. But this is purely the previous controversial shift in the series is purely only controversial because Whovians alike all agreed this is some canon breaking stuff. Pure reason. If we're just talking about fandom and canon.
Yeah, the only other time that you actually saw the Doctor change sexes was in response to them killing themselves. It was their body reward for it would not reward. It was their body's like
don't say the word
punishment for punishment for the the thought of sorry.
Unaliving. I'm
Yes.
gonna bleep your word out, dude, because
Before this change to Jodie Whittaker, um, the only way that a doctor would one of the Time Lords would change their sex is if they purposely chose to end their subscription for life.
nice. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, there's subscription to life. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and that was a response to that. Hence why we got Missy instead of the Master.
I follow,
Um,
man. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and then after Jodie Whittaker, we had another crazy upturn in how things happen, and she turned into David Tennant. The new modern,
I
like,
know.
favorite from a lot of people. A lot of people, when
I'm
they
so
first got into Doctor Who, that's the person they recognize as the Doctor, is David Tennant.
yeah. My personal fandom going into it was I mean I love season one, but man, once David Tennant stepped onto the scene, I stuck to him like glue
Yeah.
for a while.
No, it was unfortunately, David Tennant's return to it was very short-lived. It was a very short run, but they did it for a reason. Because when David Tennant left the series, the way his character left a lot of, like, people like, "Oh, what about this person? What about that person?
Like
Do they really get"
unfinished feelings.
Yeah, and the way they brought him back,
I
they
know.
gave him a chance to actually get closure to his story. And actually, they went a different route with it, and they made pretty much a Doctor Who verse. And now, when the Doctor changed again, he did another change that had never been happened in the first into a black person. Um,
A complete racial change.
yeah.
We had a sex change,
And
and then we had a racial change.
the new actor for
Ah,
that was Shuti Gatwa.
yeah.
Um, uh, Fantastic actor, and I think he brought a lot of levity to the character. And believe it or not, season in 2025 will be his second season, and we are. This is where the news comes in. It has
Oh, yeah,
been
yeah, here's the
announced
news.
that 2025 will
Sorry.
be Ncuti Gatwa's last season, and he'll be stepping down and passing over the reins to the new Doctor Who.
Man,
But
the Whovian world is, getting a lot of weird changes over the last 5 years, like, come overall.
But,
Go ahead, Nick.
the fans loved the step back to David Tennant so much, they're doing another step back.
It only made sense, I guess, because the
So
second most that honestly, what you're about
yep,
to say, I feel is probably the second most competed fandom of favorite doctors, at least in the last 20 years,
yeah.
I
No,
think.
the 16th Doctor has been announced. None other than Matt Smith will be reprising his role. Obviously, as the
Oh!
16th Doctor, he will be wearing his face, but just like David Tennant, he'll have the memories and everything, but he is a different Doctor. Um,
That's gonna
like
be weird because he already did it once. You know, he tried to go off the coattails of David Tennant,
yep.
and now he's going off the coattails of the literal last of the 15th Doctor. That's gonna be interesting. Like, kinda what's different about him? People are gonna compare this new take he gives us off of his original take because he's already been there before,
Yeah, no,
right? Right? Right?
yeah. No, like original David Tennant. He was almost like the fierce warrior doctor. The best way I could describe him. He was very lighthearted, but would fiercely defend everyone around him.
Yeah.
Um, and then Matt Smith came on board, and he was back to almost um, Sylvester Sylvester Pettigrew's Eighth Doctor. That was very whimsical,
Oh man,
but
you're
still
digging
dark.
back in the old, yeah, you're digging back.
yeah, there was a darkness to him, but he was trying to
Hmm.
hide it with whimsicalness. But you could tell that when someone messed with the people he cared about and loved, he would
Yeah,
go full scorched earth or scorched universe.
dude,
Um,
can you believe that there are? I mean, yeah, there was obviously the 60s and 70s Doctor Who,
mhm,
but I love the fact that like when they came back in 2005 that they literally it's all connected because you can because of the whole idea and format of how Doctor Who works, that he's literally timeless and can regenerate anew all the time, that you could literally just piggyback off of the original run of the
yeah,
show into the modern day. And I can't believe looking at the episode count that we're at 175 episodes of the modern take of Doctor Who from 2005 to now.
yeah.
Oh
No,
man.
and with Russell T Davis at the helm, we're gonna see some interesting stuff. I'm excited for what we're gonna see with Matt Smith coming back. He's been doing some different roles since he left, and
Yeah, oh yes, yes. Shout out to Game of Thrones spin-off.
mhm,
Damn, you're not
House
in
of
the loop.
Dragons or whatever.
Oh yeah, House of Dragons. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, the Daenerys lineage of family.
yeah,
Yeah, that's a show, and they're going season 2 coming soon. So I need to, me and my wife need to jump back in and finish the first season because I guess it's extremely good.
yeah. No, I'm definitely excited for it. I like Matt Smith as an actor. You know, you don't see him in enough things.
Quick shout out. As much as I love Matt Smith and David Tennant, I just he was a one and done for Doctor Who, sadly. But I just wanted to shout out Christopher Eccleston, season 1 of 2005's revival of the whole Doctor Who show. He did all of season 1, and then he turned into David Tennant. Um, and I watched that whole first season. You know, when I got into it for the first time, that was my first season. And then when I saw him turn into David Tennant, I remember how Christopher Eccleston acted, like mannerisms and stuff, and I could see some of that transition. So I could see David Tennant kind of replicating some of that, and I was like, "Oh, this is wild." He's trying to basically play the previous person, but just in a new form. And I've tried to pay attention every time, like when David Tennant left and we got Matt Smith. I'm like, okay, there's some quirks that David Tennant had that Matt Smith is emulating here. And I think they've done that every season. I know they eventually, evolve into adding some extra, mannerisms that weren't there from the previous one. But I love how well these actors have all done for every time he changes. And I haven't seen Miss Whitaker's performance, sadly, purely for no other reason other than I've fallen off the entire series for a while.
I held off for a while of wanting to watch it
I know.
because I was worried about it. But
Nick
I
was upset,
watched
folks, because of canon and
yeah,
lore,
not because she was a
not
woman,
because of the
because
actress,
of the way
purely
that
the
they did it.
lore. Yeah,
But I gave it a chance, and I actually liked her as the Doctor. It was
she,
completely different than I had ever seen.
and she went
Um,
3 whole years, huh?
yeah,
Yeah,
and the stories, the reason why hers worked well is they made the stories bigger than they'd ever been.
yeah. I never asked you. Yeah, I never asked. Well, it's just never been brought up. I didn't realize that you had eventually gone back and tried them out.
Yeah, no, but yeah, no, they just made the stories bigger. The stakes were higher. Um,
Yeah,
and she did an alright job. She wasn't the best Doctor, but she definitely stepped into the shoes of
yeah.
the Doctor,
Oh,
and
I
I
bet
still
she.
appreciate what she did.
I was gonna say, I bet she personally was nervous knowing the Phantom. You know what I mean? Being the first female to step in the role, I bet that was a big deal even for her. Like not knowing how people would react.
Yeah.
You know?
No, and
Yeah.
Nchuti Gatwa, his doctor.
Yeah, 2 years, 2 seasons? Or
Yeah,
he's going into his second one?
I've watched a bit of his first season and then the Christmas specials and all that stuff that he just started and he arrived in.
Yeah.
Um, he's not like whimsical as in like weird. He's almost like overly compassionate about everything, and he's
Huh,
very curious about everything. His
huh.
curiosity brings you back to like when you first saw first saw Matt Smith, first saw a few of those people. It's just
Oh, yeah.
everything's an adventure to him,
That's funny. I
and he
mean, I
just
love that, yeah.
the way he acts, he's just got a big heart, and it's really kind of cool. Yeah,
Nicholas,
yeah.
um, where else do you wanna go, on this?
I thought that
Or
was
where
your
else?
last.
Huh?
I thought that was the last bit.
Oh, that's fine. I didn't know if you had any extra you wanted to talk about.
No, just
Oh, we're
wanted to go over
excited.
this.
I guess the headline was Matt coming back. This
Yep.
would be the next, yeah, that'll be the big deal
Mhm.
next. Nick, uh, I'm feeling a bit dry on beverage, and it would require a 10-minute outing to grab something before I can't anymore legally. Um,
Let's wrap it up so you get out of here.
do you I was just asking, it is it late enough you'd prefer to
It's
wrap it up?
it's almost midnight, and I need to get
Okay.
to bed so I can go to work.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Dude, I don't need anything. I was just like, man, I'm in a shot in like an hour. But dude, the conversations are great. I'm not even, yeah, I know I'm an alcoholic. I'm sorry. Um,
Functional.
not just it's not that. I'm really bummed Zach didn't make it this time, and I'll give him shit later. He's a great guy. And he really is interested in all that. It's too bad.
I haven't met
I'll
him
try
yet,
to,
but that's strike one.
yeah. All right,
I'm
I'll let
just
him
joking.
know.
I'm just joking.
Yeah, I'll let him know. Uh, okay. Dude, I love the conversation. We had a wide range of reviews, and that last little news topic got me. I'm not gonna lie, dude. It got me excited to like jump back into Doctor Who because you know what sucks is the only reason I dropped off. Complete side note, but I feel like it matters. And it's nothing against my wife, but her best friend and her best
Yeah, I
friend's
remember.
husband at the time have always been Whovians, always been into it, and so my wife has tried to get into it, and like she's got her own unique fandoms, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings. So it's like, oh, why wouldn't this one work? But for whatever reason, she's tried it before and just couldn't stick with it. And I got up to the beginning of Matt Smith, and this is tragic because I know there's so many great doctors since then, but I kind of stopped in the first few episodes of Matt Smith because I really wanted to wait till I could talk my wife into getting into it. And I feel like there's some hope out there still. I feel like she's more open-minded. The older we get, she's more open to things, as time goes on. But I stopped purely because I wanted to wait. I didn't want to watch all of it and then hope she'd jump in with me. I was hoping we could jump in together at a certain point and go through it together. And it's a pipe dream for some of us nerds out there to get with their spouses or significant others.
Yeah.
But that being said, I've got all of Matt Smith to start on. That's where I need to start is Matt
I
Smith
would definitely
forward.
say watch it. Yeah. No,
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. I know it's good. I
the
know that's
the
one of people's favorites.
David David Tennant and like Christopher Eccleston, they kind of had the same feel. Am I too far from the microphone? They kind of had the same feel
Yeah.
as let's say good example, Star Trek. You were just talking about how
Yeah.
Discovery is overarching like story that tells throughout the whole season.
Yeah.
It
Yep.
felt like David Tennant and Christopher Eccleston was more like the Strange New Worlds. It was episodic,
Oh.
where
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
here's the story, here's the
So much arc,
idea, everything
not as much
happens in the
arc.
story, you have a wrap up, and it's done. They're on
Yeah.
to their next adventure.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Matt Smith, it felt like it turned it on its head, and you actually got more of the story arc throughout the season,
More
throughout his storyline.
ongoing, don't miss an episode type set. Yeah.
Yeah, it revolved around him, his relationship with his companion. They actually went so much more in depth on the relationship with the companion than they had in other seasons. Yeah, there was that whole
Yeah.
romantic thing with David Tennant and
Oh, it was like Rose. Oh god,
Rose.
that was a heartbreaking separation. But yeah,
Yeah,
that got a little heavy at the end. But
but it felt like when they hit Matt Smith, they did a full story arc. You actually saw character growth with Matt Smith's doctor. You saw a character growth with the companions, Rory and um, um, Amy Pond.
yeah, that and Amy Pond was the initial companion to Matt Smith,
Yes.
right? Right, yeah.
Yeah. And
Ro-
it just it's awesome that they did that, and it felt like they continued that trend all the way up, and it
Dude,
started with Matt Smith.
quick pro quo for all the fans out there. Is there an easy outlet to check previous episodes? Do you know off the
For
top
a
of your head?
while, you could watch a lot of them on Amazon Prime.
Amazon
I'm pretty sure
Prime.
you still can, except for the newest ones. So I think the last seasons with um, Jodie Whittaker were all on BBC.
Oh, okay. A quick heads up. I love and we're not sponsored, but I would highly recommend the Watch Now app. It's like a Google search for everything streaming, and you can you can basically choose what streaming services it searches for. So you can what is it called, a procured list search. So you could literally pick every app on the face of the earth, or you could do just Netflix, just HBO, just Prime, and when you search for things, it'll only look for those platforms. Sponsor us, guys. We talk a lot about streaming, but anyway, the
A
Just Now app,
lot.
a lot. The Just Now app tells me that there are 13 seasons on HBO Max. There are 13 seasons on Prime with HBO Max. Only one season on the BritBox, which is weird. A BritBox is come on, Doctor Who's a British production. But anyway, you can watch 13 of the 15 seasons on HBO Max up till now. For pure streaming, you could buy obviously on Apple and Amazon and other places, but HBO Max is currently the place to watch at least the first 13 seasons from 2005 to now. So that's exciting. Guys, it's been a blast talking about some of our favorite pop culture. We'll hopefully have a few more voices and faces next episode when we get around to it. Guys, we've got so much more to talk about. I do feel like we will have some deep dives coming up, like Stranger Things season 5, whenever that drops. No time yet, no idea when. Maybe some Star Trek deep dives once someone gets caught up. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And for sure, a Halo series deep dive, probably before season 3 launches. Me and Nick will for sure come back, do a deep dive on everything that's happened prior to season 3. I feel like that'd be a fun time. And you guys can find us on all platforms, podcasting or otherwise, nerdentials.com, YouTube. That's where we started everything. That's where we're still. Nick, it's been fun. It's been a blast. It's good to see you in 1080p.
It always is.
Anyway, sir, for myself and Nick and the rest of the nerd crew that's not here tonight,
Slackers.
slackers, this has been your Nerdy Essentials. And as always, nerds, will see you on the other side.